Hi everyone, Janie here with video number 4 in my Valentine series, and today I'm going to be making a couple of elegant Valentines using this Coca Rosa double heart cutting die set from In Love Arts. And with the cards that I'm making today, you'll see that this die set not only works for Valentine's Day, but can also be used for weddings or anniversaries. I'm only going to be using 2 different cardstocks today, and one of them is this Recollections gold foil cardstock from Michaels. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm die cutting the hearts and words from that gold foil cardstock that actually ends up to be for card number 2. However, I do cut out another set from Recollection shimmer cardstock, but I did that off camera. And even though this die set cuts beautifully, I'm not really thrilled that the words were not cut out in one piece, but instead it cuts each individual letter. So it's going to be a little more work than I expected, and to keep all of those tiny letters together, I put them on a piece of press and seal so that I don't lose them. So what you're seeing here are the hearts that I cut out. On your left are the gold foil cardstock hearts, and on the right are the shimmer cardstock hearts. And above them, they each have 2 sets of plain white hearts because I'm going to be layering those to add a little dimension, and you'll see me doing that later in the video while I'm making card number 2. Okay, let's get started with card number 1. For this card, I'll be using the Recollections shimmer cardstock, and it's called White Gold. And I use that to die cut the hearts as well as embossing the background piece with this Provo Craft Cuttlebug embossing folder that I've had for years and is no longer available. And I'm also using that gold foil cardstock that I had cut the hearts out of, and I'll be using that for the bottom layer, and no one will ever know. And while I'm assembling the card, I hope you don't mind if I play a little music for your listening pleasure. I really love the white on white with the embossed background and the hearts layered to add more dimension and texture. And now to add the die cut words I cut from the gold foil cardstock, I'm using my Zig 2-way pen to do that. And because it was a long and tedious job, I did that off camera. And here's the finished card, and not to sound redundant, but I really love the elegant look of the white on white and the embossed background and the raised hearts and just that little bit of gold accent. And this would make a very special Valentine, but to be honest, this is going to be a card for an upcoming wedding. Okay, now for card number 2. I used the gold foil cardstock and cut the center out to save for something else, and I also used the same shimmer cardstock, but this time I didn't use an embossing folder. Instead, I just left it flat. And I'm layering those on my card base, and I forgot to tell you before, but the card bases that I'm using are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it's your basic A2 size. Oh, and if you're new to my channel and are confused as to why I cut the center out of that piece of gold cardstock, it's so that I'm not wasting it, and no one's ever going to see that the center was cut out, just like they'll never see that I had die cut the hearts from the gold foil cardstock I used on my first card. It's just a way to make my specialty cardstock go further. So here I'm just showing you how I glued the layers of the hearts together to add a little dimension. The more layers you add, the thicker the piece gets, and the more raised it will be when you add it to your project. I only layered 3 pieces together, and I think it was just right for what I was doing, but I probably could have added another layer. And this is just a great technique for an alternative to using foam tape, because sometimes your die cuts could be too skinny or intricate and may be difficult to add the foam tape to. It's also a great way to use your scraps, and that happens to be what I used. So now that the hearts are done, I'm just figuring out where I want to position them. Not that I have a lot of options, but I just wanted to see what it was going to look like before I glue them on. And once I get the hearts glued on, then it's time to glue those tiny little letters on using my Zig 2-way pen, which again, I did off camera. And here's the finished card, and even though I didn't do any embossing, I think that the shimmer cardstock and the foil cardstock make this a beautiful and elegant Valentine for someone special, or even an anniversary card. Thank you all so much for stopping by. This is the final video in my Valentine series, and I hope my videos have given you some ideas that interest you and maybe even some tips and tricks along the way. If you like this double heart cutting die set from In Love Arts, I'll have a link to that below in the description box along with a 25% off discount code. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone, and happy crafting. Bye-bye.